Eastern Star Church is investing in you. My name is Nancy Silvers Rogers, and I'm the Executive Director of Ministries here at the church. Over 15 years, we've been providing scholarships for our high school graduates. Those not able to attend our college readiness seminar on May 14th, please watch this video in its entirety. At the end of the video, complete the assessment that was provided in the email and follow the instructions. Please remember that the assessment must be completed by 5 p.m. on June 17th.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, okay. My name is Kimberly Bostic, and I'm with UNCF, that stands for United Negro College Fund. How many of you have heard of UNCF? I didn't think, oh, I feel good. What do you know? Tell me what you've heard. What you know? So good. You heard a mind is a terrible thing to waste? Is that about it? Did you know about the Gates Millennium Scholarship Program? Oh, y'all so quiet. Yes? No? Kinda? Sorta? Did you know that it gave you a full ride scholarship to anywhere that you wanted to go? No? Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to do a couple of things. I have a presentation, but I will not go all the way through the presentation because if you're like me and it's the morning and you're kind of tired, probably not going to really get it to what's on the, where am I pointing to? All right, so I'll tell you a little bit about UNCF. UNCF is the largest minority scholarship organization in the country. We provide more than 60,000 we give scholars more than 60,000 scholarships to students across the country. You do not have to attend a UNCF member institution in order to receive a Gates Millennium Scholarship. What university did Mr. T say that he went to? Taylor. So we have students that are going to Taylor. We have students that are at Butler. We have students that are at IU. We have students that are at Indiana Tech. We have students that are at Ivy Tech. So what did that just tell you? Not only do you not have to go to a UNCF member school or an HBCU, you also do not, it does not have to be a four-year institution. You can receive a UNCF scholarship and go to Ivy Tech or community college. Depending on the scholarship, you could even transfer that if you end up going to a four-year institution as well. We manage over 400 different scholarship programs across the country. I do have, and I'll pass this out in a few so that you can look at it, we do have scholarships that are particular to the state of Indiana. So we have what we call the Ronald McDonald Scholarship. We have, we have the USA Fund Scholarship. We have scholarships that are particular to the area that you may live in. So for instance, this is fine right here. So for instance, does anyone live on the east side of town? There's a Far East Side Scholarship Program. The only requirement is that you reside on the Far East Side. That's 46235, 46236, 46218. So that would be Lawrence North, Arlington, or John Marshall, and Warren, depending on where you live. How many of you live on the northwest side? There's an IU scholarship right now for Indiana University Health Scholarship. Again, the requirement is that you reside on that side, in that area. So that would be 46218. And you guys will throw, I think 46205 is also a part of that. So anywhere that by the Children's Museum, 30th Street, 21st Street, going all the way over to MLK, those are called community-based scholarships. The point that I'm making is that there are scholarships across the state of Indiana, many of them that you can apply to. I went to a presentation a couple of months, or last year, around this same time, and we have a USA Fund Scholarship, and I went to Martin University. And the students at Martin University said, well, I didn't know that I could get a scholarship and attend Martin University. So I told the student, I said, okay, you go to uncf.org, you go to the scholarship tab, and you register, because we want to make sure that you register and you don't just search. When you register, it allows you to enter your profile information. When you enter your profile information, you begin to be able to apply for scholarships that are only particular to you. You can go to the next slide. I don't need to touch this. Go one more. All right, let's see here. So you're able to then to apply for scholarships and search just for scholarships that are particular to you. So she said, great, Miss Kim, I'll do that. She did that. She went and she applied for the scholarship. 2 months later, she called me back. She said, guess what? I got a scholarship that not only covered what I needed, but it renewed for the next 2 years. So she was able to get a scholarship at Martin University that actually allowed her to graduate, right? She's also, her particular degree that she was applying for was in science. There's lots and lots of opportunities for STEM. How many of you are doing anything with science, technology, or math, engineering, or math? So we have what's called a Merck Science Fellowship Program. The Merck Science Fellowship Program allows for you to not only receive scholarship, but allows you to be a fellow. That's a good word for an intern, but you're getting paid for it. So you become a fellow. They give you residency. They fly you to wherever they are, and they pay for you to learn how to actually work in the area of STEM. What does that mean? Who do we work with? What are some of the companies? Name any company in the world that you think would be a great company to work for. Name it. Eli Lilly. We have a STEM program that's at Eli Lilly. Say another one. Think big. Don't just think Indiana. Think big. What's the top organization? What do you think we use to search on our search engine? What's the top company? Google. We have internships and fellowships with Google. When we fly our students to go to the leadership conferences, that's who they talk to. So you have an opportunity, just by learning about the scholarships and opportunities available, we'll teach you how to make yourself stand out. We'll teach you that through the leadership conferences, but you have to go out and apply, okay? I put this up here because I want to tell you a little bit about how and who is receiving scholarships. So we have scholarships. One thing, our scholarships, 90% of them are renewable. Renewable does not mean automatic. What did Mr. Terrence just say? You have to do what? Keep your grades. So long as you continue to maintain the same requirements that allowed you to get the initial scholarship, contingent upon funding, we always say, which most of the time it is, because we did raise $25 million this year just for the state of Indiana. But contingent upon funding, the scholarship is renewable, okay? Who's applying for scholarships? If you look at this circle in the back, it gives you a scholarship map. We have high school students. So if you look, 29% of the students are high school seniors. That's 29%. But then if you look, there's a freshman, and the freshman actually is the 6%. It's the top grade. Why is there a difference between a high school senior and a freshman? Here's what happens. Terrence goes to college his freshman year, right? He got a partial scholarship. He did not get a full ride scholarship. Someone notified him while he was in college, hey, there's another UNCF scholarship that's available. He applied and he was accepted. So Terrence is part of that 6% that receives scholarships their freshman year. So just because you don't get the scholarship your senior year in high school does not mean that you still cannot apply, okay? Can we go to the next slide? One more time. So we talked about that, another one. I want to talk about need-based scholarships. So need-based scholarships, what does that mean? It does not mean that you have to be low income. What it means, here's an example. If we're offering a need-based scholarship, and this is just a rough number, and the cost of tuition is $12,500, right? So that's it. I would assume that would be an Indiana State school. The family contribution after you complete your FAFSA form is $1,000, right? So your financial need is $11,500. Let's say that you also received that partial scholarship that Mr. T received, right? So let's just say that it's $3,500. There's still a $5,500 base, because remember, he said it wasn't a full ride. I still had to pay for something. So that's $5,500 $7,500 that you got in the Pell Grant, the balance is still $2,500. You still got to figure out how to pay it. UNCF determines that as need. Now, if you didn't receive the Pell Grant, that amount would be $7,500. That would be the maximum amount if you were looking at a need-based scholarship that UNCF could provide you. UNCF does not send any checks to you directly. You have to be in school, accepted, registered, or enrolled. So you can be a senior. Of course, you're not yet enrolled, but you're registered and you're accepted, so they can send money to that school. Let me go on to the next slide. One more. The last thing that I want to make sure that we talk, actually there's two more things that I want to talk about. One, when can you apply? If you're applying, so if you're a senior in high school, you're expecting to go to school in the fall. So you want to make sure that you're applying between the times of February 1 and June 1st. Remember when I told you to go online and register? If everyone does this today, whether or not you know what school you're going to or not, if you go online and register, we will send you an alert based on your information of when scholarships are open. So if you were to go to apply right now, the people who said they were on the far east side, you'd immediately get an alert to say there's a scholarship, that deadline is approaching on June the 1st. The same thing for those that live in the unlocked community. Okay? If new scholarships open, they will send you that alert. If you are a freshman in college, let's say you go to college and you don't receive the scholarship your senior year, but you still have need. The spring opening is August 1st through November 1st, okay? Again, once you register, you'll receive that information of when those scholarships are available. The last thing that I want to talk about, because I know that I've probably only got about 3 minutes, on here, and I have this information in a packet for you, it tells you exactly how to go online. But here's what I have found as the most, it's not on here so you can stay right here, the most important thing that I'm finding things change. Okay? How many of you play sports? Okay, so hear me. Hear what I'm saying. Okay? The NCAA eligibility rules have changed. If you are an athlete and you have not completed your required courses per NCAA eligibility by the 7th semester, you are ineligible to receive NCAA scholarship dollars. Let me say this again. How many semesters do you go to school in high school? 8. NCAA eligibility has changed. If you do not get your required courses for NCAA eligibility status by the 7th semester, you are ineligible for NCAA scholarship. So those of you that are looking at a D1, a D2, or a D3 school where they are giving you dollars to go to school, if you have not completed your required courses by the first semester, you're ineligible. Okay? You cannot go to summer school and become eligible. If you I can't remember what they also changed, what courses are considered NCAA eligibility. I believe one of them is a math course that they've changed the amount of semesters. Please go look it up. Do not depend on your counselors to tell you this. Go know for yourself. You are ineligible to receive that full ride scholarship based on your sports if you have not completed those courses by semester 7. So if you failed Algebra 2, and Algebra 2 is a requirement, you are ineligible to receive that scholarship. Okay? Know what your requirements are. Always use all of your resources. There are other resources. How many of you were ever members of Boys and Girls Club? Anyone? No? Boys and Girls Club, if you were a member for 3 years, you have the opportunity to receive a scholarship of $5,000. In Indiana, none of it gets used. We give away about 3 scholarships from Boys and Girls Club. All you gotta do is be a member. Go to summer, so if you have a younger sibling that's going to Boys and Girls Club because it's in their school, all they gotta do is be a member. It's free if they go to the school. be a member for 3 years and be active, and they can apply for scholarships. Know what scholarships are out there. There's so much money that we're not using, okay? Any questions? No? No questions? All right. Good job.
Good morning. I need everybody to stand up. Yeah, stand up. Stand up, stand up. Good morning. Good morning. I need everyone to take their right hand and place it over your heart. Do you feel that amazing beat? You feel that? You feel that? All that simply means is that there is purpose in your life. There's purpose. And no matter what people say or do in your life, always remember that there is purpose. And that when you believe in yourself, you can accomplish any goal that you want to do in life. Okay? Everybody with me? Okay, have a seat. Now, there was a reason why I did that. When you think about your purpose in life and where you're going, you also have to keep in mind how valuable your time is. How valuable your time is. And as a guidance counselor at Lawrence, Florida, I have parents that call me. I have students that come into my office. Mr. Jackson, my grades are terrible. Mr. Jackson, my son, my daughter, they're not performing at the level that they should be at. And one of the first questions I ask them, well, what do they do with their time? What do you do when you get home? What do you do on the weekend? Because when you know your purpose, scholarships, going to a good college, getting involved. When you know your purpose, then your time is valuable, okay? Real quick, just about me. Born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, went to North Central. I spent some time in Atlanta, Georgia at Morris Brown College. Had a great time, great experience. Go to an HBCU if you can. Came back home, some things happened, just had to work for 6 months. But I realized that the value of education in my time. Went to BU, got my associates, and then I finished at Indiana State with my bachelor's and master's degree, okay? When you think about time, and I love that picture, the lady juggling life. Life happens. What do I do with my time? Look at time. We really don't grasp what time is, and I have a clip that's going to bring this home. You have 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year to accomplish your goals, to do what you need to do. Okay? 365 days in a year. And I know this may seem elementary, but we have to look at exactly how much time you have. And the thing why this is so important, guys, some of your peers may have not made it. They're not here anymore. Things happen in life. A young lady, I forgot what state, lost her life in a bathroom fight. Gone, over nothing. I wonder if the young lady who was fighting realized the value of time. Because now she's going to be tried as an adult in the prison system. I'm bringing this up because young people, we got to recognize the value of time. 7 days in 1 week. And this time is important to me as an adult, working full time, a 7, 5, and 3-year-old married, doing a lot juggling. I recognize the value of 7 days in a week, 8,760 hours in a year. What am I doing with my hour? Hold up your phone. Hold up your phone. One of the things I'm going to stress to you, and I know I grew up at a different time. I'm planning my 20-year high school reunion in the fall. I'm amazing myself, but we didn't have the phones that you have. Limit how much time you spend on that thing. Limit how much time you spend on that thing. Young people have been in car crashes, done got in fights, caught up, F's in class because of a phone. 164 hours in a week, in 1 week, and 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? The time you have.
These are roughly 28,835 jelly beans. I counted out 500 of them and used those to weigh the rest. In this pile, there's one jelly bean for each day that the average American will live. You might have more beans in your life, or maybe less, but on average, this is the time we have. Here's a single bean. It's your very first day. A special day, but kind of a rough day on everyone involved. Add 364 more and you have the first year of your life. Now, for a sense of scale, here are your first 15 years, 5,475 days, which brings us to the threshold of adulthood. And at that moment, this is the time that we have left. And this is, on average, what we will do with all that time. We will be asleep for a total of 8,477 days. If we're lucky, some of that time we'll be sleeping next to someone we love. We will be in the process of eating, drinking, or preparing food for 1,635 days. We'll be at work, hopefully doing something satisfying, for the equivalent of 3,202 of those days. 1,099 days will be spent commuting or traveling from one place to another, maybe a little bit more if you live in LA. On average, we will watch television in one form or another for a total of 2,676 days. Household activities, like chores and tending to our pets and shopping, will take another 1,576 days. And we will care for the needs and well-being of others, our friends and family, for 564 days. We'll spend 671 days bathing, grooming, and doing all other bathroom-related activities, and another 720 days will go to community activities, like religious and civic duties, charities, and taking classes. After we remove all those beans, this is what remains. This is the time that we have left. Time for laughing, swimming, making art, going on hikes, text messages, reading, checking Facebook, playing softball, maybe even teaching yourself how to play the guitar. So what are you going to do with this time? How much of it do you think you've already used up? If you only had half of it, what would you do differently? What about half of that? How much time have you already spent worrying instead of doing something that you love? What if you just had one more day? What are you going to do today?
Repeat after me. Time right. In time. All right, come on. In time. On time. Every time. Except when a little ahead of time. Because that's better time. Well, yeah. All right, 12 P's. Come on. Prior. Come on. Prior. 60. Preparation. Promote. Perfect performance. 5 P. Prior preparation promotes perfect performance. When you prepare, when you understand the importance of time right. Now check this out, guys. One of the ways to be successful in life is with your thinking and with your action. Everybody say thinking. Action. What I think is what I will do with my life. What you think is what you will do with your life, thinking and action. I guarantee you. Those of you who have boyfriend and girlfriends and y'all having issues, what am I thinking and what are the actions in that relationship? Those of you who have issues with your parents and things ain't working out, what am I thinking and what are my actions? Those of you who have good grades or bad grades, what have I been thinking and what have I been doing with my action? It's all about your time. Okay, all right. Now, set your goals, short-term and long-term, okay? Focus on making the most of now. Focus on making the most of right now. Guys, okay, you got an F yesterday. You didn't do so good your sophomore year. Don't think about the past. The past serves no purpose in your life unless there was a moment in the past where you became successful. Other than that, don't think about the past. Don't think about tomorrow, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you're so focused on the tomorrow that has not happened yet, you're not focused on your today and your right now. So, what do I do with my right now? What's your name? Nicole, tell me, what do you do with your right now? Okay, go ahead. We'll still tell them. Help the other the people. Sleep? Okay, yeah, you need rest. You need rest. Yes, you do. Young lady. Yes, you. Yeah. What do you need to do with her right now?
Right now, I need to study for finals.
There you go. Prior preparation promotes perfect performance. Study for finals. Limit the phone. Okay? All right. Create a to-do list. 5 things. Every morning when you wake up, create a to-do list. What would this do for you? Young man, what would I do for you? Create a to-do list.
Keep you on track.
Okay? Why? Why is that important?
Because you're seeing what you did.
Yeah. Because if you know your purpose, you know where you're going. Okay? 3.5 GPA. That's the goal. Or higher. Or higher. How do you get that GPA? What do you do? Study. Action. What else? Action. Be consistent. Tell me what consistent looks like. You athlete?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know about consistency. Tell me what it looks like.
Working harder and getting harder.
There you go. Every day. Anything you do for 23 days becomes a what? A habit. So the best habit you need to have is a work ethic. Getting up early. Me and my wife are night and day. She likes to sleep in. I like to get up at 4:45 a.m. On Mondays and Fridays, we're allowed to come in at 8:30 to work. So what I'll do, I'll get up, I'll get stuff ready for the kids and lunch, and I'll go to Starbucks and read. Read. Don't get on the phone. Anytime you free time, read. Y'all see that? Okay? College visit, start building your network. I want to focus on that when you think about your time. Why is it important to build your network? Tell me what a network is. Yes. What else? Builds your network. Who said that? And you're going to join Cap Outside, right?
Pops already.
Okay, cool. I'm going to tell you something about networking. I was in grad school, graduating in May of 2014. And I was at an event, and one of the campus brothers said, hey, do you know Dr. Smith is speaking at our Founders Day banquet? I'm like, oh, really? Okay, that's cool. I want to go, but I'm not about to spend $70 for a dinner. That's grocery money. He said, I got you. And, I'm like, I'm not taking no. I'm driving home. I said, you know what? I'm about to graduate, and it'd be a good thing for me to have a conversation with Dr. Smith. Just say, hey, here I am, I'm graduating. I ain't got nothing to lose. I'm just talking about the importance of people. And I went. Dr. Smith, Brandon Jackson, graduated from Indiana State with my master's degree in school counseling. Man, keep in touch. So Mike, y'all see that? You never know, okay? Stay consistent. There you go. Stay there. Okay? Eliminate distraction. When you think about it, sometimes you gotta what? Eliminate the distractions. Why? What's a distraction? Relationships. I have a young man come in my office with his girlfriend. Yes. And I didn't want to sound like a parent and sound old, and I just listened. You do not need to be in a relationship if you're in high school. Now, I know you're probably saying, what? If you want to be friends, just be cool. Have a study partner in a group with other friends, your peers. Because you ain't ready for that, it's a distraction. Because all I need to do is pull up your transcripts and see what you got last semester with your boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay? That's going to come. Focus on the outcome. Okay, everybody repeat after me. Focus on the outcome. Not the sacrifice. The sacrifice you're making is your GPA, getting into a good college. Okay? And make room for downtime. Young people, I know life gets hard. Things are hard. Make room for downtime. Go to the gym. Read a book. Go out with your friends to a good movie. Okay? Time doesn't matter. Right thinking equals what? Right behavior. Focus on the present. I can do all things through Christ and keep a journal a daily log, okay? Now, before I go, what's one thing that I said that you're going to take away? Huh? Focus on that. What else? Time is valuable. There you go. Thank you.
Here's an example of annual college costs and resources. Now, this is just an example, but let's look and see what these costs and these resources look like. Education costs. Tuition could run $10,388. Room and board, another $10,040. Books and supplies, about $1,200. That gives us a total of $21,718. Now, scholarships could come to play, so let's look at what they could do. One scholarship could cover your tuition, $10,388. Another scholarship could come in and cover your room and board, $10,040. And then a needs-based scholarship could come in and cover your books and supplies at $1,200. That means of your education costs, all $21,718 are covered. But wait, you have living expenses. You want to go out and have some entertainment. You need gas for your car. So you've decided as a student, you're going to bring some income in. So there's a work-study program. Let's just say you'll make $2,880 a year. You're also babysitting 4 hours on Saturday. You'll bring in maybe $1,500. So now your total is $4,380 for your personal expenses. Here's what you should do. First and foremost, remember the 10-10-80 rule. 10% we tithe back to God because He owns it all. The other 10% you provide for yourself, save, take care of yourself. And then the other 80%, living expenses. You're taking care of gas. You're taking care of an occasional pizza. You're taking care of going to the movies. The key, though, is as you become a better steward of all that God gives you, you don't want to spend it all, but you want to do your spending in a way that is pleasing to God. Remember, 10-10-80. 10% for God, 10% for you, and then 80% to take care of your living expenses.
So to me, in order for you to be successful in terms of your study skills, the first thing you need to know is your learning style. And oftentimes, students don't know that. I want you to know that before you go off to college. I'm going to tell you something else I think is important, especially for people of color. We have a tendency to stick with what we know. Stick with those who we are familiar with. So, I'm going to go to class. Let's say I'm going to go to my math class, and I'm kind of surveying the room. I'm looking for people to look like me if I'm not at an HBCU, right? I'm telling you right now, you need to break that habit. Okay, then see, why are you going there? I'm going there because guess what? Here's the analogy I use. Oprah Winfrey has lots of money, right? And I still have not read yet where she owns her own island. Okay, what do you mean by that? Meaning that, as African Americans, we have to learn how to deal with everyone. And that's one of the reasons why I look forward to young people going off to college. Some of the networking, some of the connections that I've made over the years has to do with the fact that I had an open mind when it comes to dealing with people. I wanted to deal with everyone because I haven't run into anyone yet who has not offered me something that I may take. and apply to my life. Secondly, so you need to understand your learning style. The next thing you need to do is have a planner. I'm asking you right now, how many of you have a planner and this is sitting there collecting dust? You don't really use it. Let's be honest. You really don't use it. Okay. You need a planner. If you see me at CLD, I have a planner always. People laugh at me at CLD, say, you are so old school. Absolutely right. There's some good things about being old school. Because when your phone dies, when your phone updated and lose your stuff, Pastor T, you know what I'm talking about. You start saying stuff that is not godly, okay?
Amen.
So my daughter laughs at me. My daughter is a brilliant young lady. She is 31 years old. She's the only African American at the health department in water quality who does what she do. Praise God. Tell me we don't serve a good God. My daughter went to school, Indiana State University. She majored in environmental science, and her minor was environmental health science. Her major was safety management. It had taken her 4 years to get in her field. She finally got in it. She was just promoted last June to water quality. So if you see an emergency vehicle, an SUV, that says Marion County Health Department, and you see a very dark complected young lady, thick girl, get out, and she has her work boots on looking like she's ready for action, with a bucket, going down to Eagle Creek or Fall Creek testing water, that's my baby, okay? If you see her, just say hello. I'm very proud of my young daughter. She became, of course she's an adult, but I'm so proud of her because she had that kind of work ethic. She's a green, very analytical. She got to know why it makes sense. Every time we go out to dinner, I tell her, you're not working right now. Let us enjoy this meal. Quit looking at if they're out of compliance. That's not important. Let's just enjoy our meal. The reason why I like to bring up my daughter is because she is one of those young people, and I may be describing you, she was considered attention deficit disorder. She couldn't focus on one thing for a very long period of time. But how many of you know that there are some very intelligent people who do not focus well on one thing at one time? Why am I sharing that with you? Because you need to understand, don't get caught up in labels. Okay? When you go off to college, don't get caught up in, when you were in high school, you had this label. You simply need to know that your brain works a little differently, but different does not equate to deficiency. We need to get that. Are you serious? I have 5 minutes? Okay. The other thing I want you to understand, make sure you have study partners. This is why I talked about having different, understanding your learning styles, because you want to have different type of study partners. You also want to always adapt and adjust to this particular method of study. It's SQRs, which means survey, question, read, review, and recite. So what I mean by that is I want you to go over your materials and read it again, and you're going to make sure that you read it out loud. Sometimes it's something about when you read something out loud, it makes a huge difference. Also, let me tell you this. The brain responds to color. When you go off to college, I always have plenty of highlighter, different types of color. The brain really responds to color. Colorful Post-its, colorful index cards, colorful highlighters. Okay? It's important to find a great place to study. I know that bed looks good. and you say, I'm gonna sit here, I'm just gonna sit here and read, and then the bed starts saying, please just go and relax. So you don't want to study in your bed. So keep that in mind. Don't be embarrassed to take advantage of office hours of your professors. And at this point, I'm going to close by...
All right. You guys can come forward. This is Mr. Matthew. I'm about to jack up your last name. I'm having a brain blood disorder. Thompson. Mr. Matthew Thompson from IUPUI's FIA program, and he's here representing them today. Also, they do a matching scholarship for those of you who are interested. If you're going to Indiana University or Purdue University, and you have to come, let's say you're going to be back here, IUPUI is not just, this old shabby one building university. It's a huge university here in the city. And so they do matching funds with our scholarship. So talk to him afterwards if you're interested. And we have Jordan Baker. He is actually on staff here at Eastern Star, and he's one of our videographers. And he is a graduate of Ball State University, or should I say chirp chirp. And then this is Ms. B from Center for Leadership Development, and then Mr. Howard Stevenson from Project Free. All right? So we're going to open up the floor for any and all questions that you have of them, except for their Social Security number. All right?
This is for anybody, but what obstacles did you have to overcome when transitioning from high school to college?
For me, I think it would be, for one, essentially the transitioning, just being away from home, being away from parents, essentially. Like that first night, I remember freshman year, it was a little bit difficult. I'm not saying I cried or anything, but it's just that first night is a whole different experience. If like, it's not like you're going back to your parents, like in a week. You're gone for a considerable amount of time. And that's something that is a reality that will definitely take place psychologically with everybody. On top of that, freedom, dealing with the amount of free time that you have, especially as a freshman, you'll learn that when you only have one class during the day, and your first class is at 9:30 in the morning, and it ends at 10:45, from 11 to, for the remainder of the day, you're free to do whatever you want. And learning how to manage your time. For me, I know that I didn't hang out with a lot of people, so I was in my room the whole time, during like the whole days. And so for me, as I got older, I learned to use that time better during the day. So definitely handling your freedom is one of the biggest things that you have to deal with transitioning into college.
I would say, because I work with so many students, the School of Public and Environmental Affairs, one of the biggest things is the students don't understand how important it is to get off to a good start. So their freshman year, they come in, they take these classes, and they're able to rebound if they do not so good, but there's financial aid implications, there's other people and students that want your spot at the university. So if you get on academic probation, then you're behind, you have to take courses over. And then we talk about financial aid, you can be denied financial aid. A lot of students are 21st century scholars, so you have to be on what we call 30 credits per year, so that throws you off track. And so it's just setting up your priorities. So they've all alluded to it, understanding the time management, but just understanding that you're here to go to school, you can have fun, but you gotta make sure before you go have fun that your homework's done and you're prepared for that next week. So that's the biggest thing, is just setting your priorities and understanding what you have ahead of you.
Did you all do any extra activities while you were in college?
I guess I'll start. For me, I, like freshman year, the first thing I did, all throughout high school, I was a part of the drum line. And so when I got to Ball State, that was the first thing I wanted to do. So I did marching band for the first 2 years. And definitely getting involved, like your freshman year is probably the best thing I can tell you to do. At Ball State in particular, it was competitive to get into the marching band, however, especially the drum line. However, some colleges like Ball State they will allow you to learn an instrument if you really want to get involved in the marching band, but you don't know how to play. So definitely, trying to get involved your first year is something I would recommend, but marching band for me.
Well, I played football in college at the University of Akron in Ohio, and then I finished at Anderson University. So when you talk about time management, it's really big and it's really important to set up your schedule to where you're able to have your evenings off. We traveled on the weekends, so every Friday during the fall or the fall semester, we would be gone on the road or in a hotel if we had home games. So it was very difficult, but you have to have that time management and understand. That's why I said priorities and setting was really important to you. So I can even tell you a time where my coach, I had let him know, hey, I might miss practice tonight because I have a study group. And he was just like, you're gonna be in practice, you're gonna miss the study group. So you need to find another time for that study group. So you have other things going on in college, but you have to set those list of priorities. And so it fell back on me to make sure that I still got my studies in, as well as I still had to fulfill my duties as a football player to maintain my scholarship. So.
I guess because I'm the type of person I have always been, I believe in giving back. So when I went off to IU, I kept searching the community to look for places I could volunteer. And so since I had a love for special education students who were considered different, and at that time they just started talking about autism, I volunteered at a center to the point where they loved my work ethic. They ended up hiring me, and I was able to have work study as a result of it.
And I will add that for student organizations, you guys want to seek out a Christian organization such as Campus Crusade for Christ or Impact or something like that to be involved in. You may not find a church right away, depending upon what city you go to and what school you go to. There are very few churches in the world like Eastern Star Church. So don't look for Eastern Star Church somewhere else. But if you don't have a church that you can go to, there are student groups on campus, Christian student groups on campus that you can be a part of.
I have a question about that though. So like that's cool. Like if we So if we end up, say I'm going to Purdue, y'all move. So say I end up going to Purdue, and I can't seem to find a church home that's comfortable for me. Going to Impact can replace that? Or would you strongly, I don't know, I'm just thinking about possibilities in case I get up there and I can't, you know what I mean? I don't know.
That's a good question. What happens if all the churches you go to are just boo-boo? So being a part of the student group, that will help your spirituality. And then I'm going to allow one of our panelists to speak to that because that's what they're here for.
Yeah. So for me, my church home is Northside New Era, and I ran into the same problem at Muncie. There's churches on every corner in Muncie, but none of them fit. So definitely watching the live stream for Eastern Star, because that's exactly what I did for Northside New Era. I watched my live stream every Sunday. So I got, what I was looking for, even though, I was in my dorm room, at the same time, it's not church essentially, but that's the way to fill that void.
And the reality is you're not going to find a church like your home church, regardless of where you go. So being sure that you just get somewhere where you can at least get the word of God. Now, if they sacrificing animals and handling snakes, that's not the church for you. I just want to tell you that now. All right? And you guys need to be affiliated with a Christian group because if you're going to a secular university, even some Christian universities, they are going to challenge your faith. And your professors, even some of your professors, will challenge your faith. So it is very important that you have a Christian community that you can rely on for backing.
And also with that, I was at Akron, Ohio, so that's about 3.5 hours away. And so on campus, you'll meet people in Christian organizations. We had a prayer group, a Bible study group Wednesday nights, Christian athletes, fellowship of athletes, Christian athletes. And so as you start to network and talk to people within that community, you'll be able to visit different church homes. So I was able to visit different church homes there in Akron and found a particular church that I like going to. So it's just a little bit of searching, but the live stream is the best, I would think.
Okay, how many people in here have debit cards? How many people use their debit cards frequently? Everybody, okay, we all like spending, we all like swiping the cards. Okay, so in this day and age, apps are very important to our daily lives. And a helpful way to say that I learned, I found an app that is a micro-investing app that basically whenever you swipe your card, it takes pennies off of what you spend. So let's say like you buy like a meal at McDonald's, it's about $5.75. So this particular app that I use, it takes that 25 cents to make it $6 and it invests that quarter into a small savings account that I have access to. However, it takes like maybe 5 to 7 business days in order for me to get access to that money. So I leave it in there. But it's one of those apps. It's called Acorns, and I can talk to you individually if you are interested in learning more about it. But basically, you can leave it in there, and after a year or 2 years of swiping your debit card, all the pennies that you have, that it takes out of there, that builds up and that adds up at the end of the year. You have a small account with money in it that you can use for whatever you need. So I definitely encourage you all to find small, ways in 2016 to help save your money. That particular app is called Acorns. I read about it in Business Insider. So definitely take advantage of 2015 and 2016, technology advances.
All right, 2 more questions. First question is, you had a question?
Yeah.
I'm not stopping any questions that come from you all. Yes.
Whenever I talk to people who go to college, they always talk about like bad friend experiences, being burned by someone or like someone stealing money from them. So how do you avoid situations like that?
Well, you have your friends, you have your network before you go to college. At IUPUI, we always have situations in the dorm because you'll have new students from, Lafayette, Gary, Hammond, Evansville, another state that will, be roommates with another person from another state. So you are always mixing different personalities and clashing. One of the ways that you can kind of get ahead of that would be to meet, sit down and talk with your potential roommates. So, for example, in SPIA, what we do is they'll stay in the dorms and we'll have a meet and greet night, which is about 2 months before they even move in. And then also what we'll do is you can get the information for like who you want to be your roommate. And a rule of thumb that we say on the college campus is you don't want your best friend being your roommate. All right, so it might be hard. I have 3 best friends and I'm 35, we've been best friends forever. They were in my wedding. I would never live with them. I would never be their roommate because, sometimes you're gonna eat up all the food, they're gonna drink the last of the drink, they're gonna leave you with a sip. So it's just one of those things, setting those expectations and boundaries early. So you'll reach out to your potential roommate, you'll meet that roommate, you'll meet that roommate's family, and then you'll just kind of come up with, hey, this is what I like, these are some do's and don'ts. One big thing for me is please just clean up after yourself. And don't wear any of my clothes without asking. That's it. So a lot of fights take place right there. Because, we're roommates, we're cool, you think you just go in my closet? No, don't wear any of my clothes. So just make sure you reach out to that roommate as soon as possible, meet that roommate, let your parents meet that parents' roommates, and vice versa.
Okay. So this question is from Ms. Bingham. How much time do you spend on homework? This question is from Ms. Bingham and for Jordan.
First of all, those of us who have gone through CLD and know anything about CLD We teach our students at 3 hours, Mackenzie, right? 3 hours a day, and this is a Miss Bingham, this is a Binghamism. This is what I tell my students, kind of like what Pastor T said. When you work hard during the week, if you do it every day and you take advantage of the times that you're not in class, you can almost fix it where at least one of the days on the weekend can be you, all about you. So I would say, if you get in the habit of taking time, don't go to your dorm and go to sleep. That's one of the biggest mistakes you make. But take advantage of that time that you're not in class. Read your materials. Go over your notes. That is so critically important. You need to go over your notes. Oftentimes when you take notes, how many of you later on you look at it and say, what in the world? What was I thinking? What did I leave out here? So you have to make sure that it makes sense to you. So I would say, on the most part, when you're in college, if you're taking 15 credit hours, if you're not getting in every day, if you're not getting in 4 or 5 hours of study, it's something totally wrong with that picture. Let me tell you this. A student's perception is that I'm doing well, but your harsh reality may not coincide. And you check it by how much time you really are spending in studying.
For me, homework varies depending on which program you're in. And that's very important because a lot of times you may have, like for me, I had video classes. And my video classes were different from my law classes, were different from my photography classes. So I had to devote more time to studying essentially for those law classes, you know, especially with that particular teacher who wanted, you know, a 21-page paper, while the other teachers maybe wanted a 1 double-spaced page or like 1 photo assignment. So definitely, it depends on your classes as far as homework goes. I don't want to scare you. All of the classes in college aren't super, you know, everybody's not going to give you like, you know, research papers that are 50 pages long, okay? Some classes that you'll find will actually be, you know, kind of easy. And they will be similar to your high school classes. And you'll be like, oh, you know, I don't really have to study as much for this class. However, there will be classes that you will have to study for. And it's your job to determine how much you have to study for. And that's all based on, you know, what you want to go into. Because essentially, people that want to go into medical school have to study more than people that want to be photographers, essentially, you know. So it just depends. And if you are prepared, you know, if you really want to go for that doctorate, or you really want to go for that teaching degree, or whatever career it is, you have to be prepared to study and to do the homework for the career that you are interested in doing. And so that's all I have to say about homework.
We hope you were blessed and are now ready for college. Please complete the assessment that was included in this email and follow those instructions carefully. Remember that the deadline for submitting the assessment is June 17th by 5:00 p.m.